Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. In spite of the constant flood of information coming in regarding the dumpster fire controversy surrounding Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA, and make no mistake, I have every intention of discussing that topic more later today, I thought it wise to make certain that we don't ignore those issues that also have larger and far-reaching consequences, which is why, as I'm sure you guessed by the title of this video, I am taking a few minutes to talk about net neutrality. And on that note, Ajit Pai, former Verizon attorney and current chairman of the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, is set to unveil his plans next week for the final FCC vote to reverse the landmark 2015 net neutrality order that barred the blocking or slowing of internet content. This will be the final step in the voting process that started in May of this year when the FCC voted 2-1 in favor of repealing net neutrality. Since then, as per procedure, the FCC had asked for people to comment either for or against the repeal of net neutrality. Of course, this has spurred a great deal of controversy in the intervening months, with anti-net neutrality organizations flooding the site with millions of fake comments in favor of repealing net neutrality with the exact same statements. Indeed, once those cloned comments were filtered out, it was found that 98.5% of all individually non-duplicated comments were in favor of keeping net neutrality, which makes this decision that is being pushed forward by a former corporate attorney at the behest of a president with a very well-known corporate interest against the will and the welfare of the citizenry of the United States. And for those of you that are not aware of what net neutrality is, it is a piece of legislation put into place under the Obama administration with the idea in mind that all traffic should be treated with equal priority, whether it be a government email, browsing Twitter or Facebook, or watching a YouTube video like this one. It prevents internet service providers from rate limiting certain types of content in order to prioritize other traffic. The net neutrality regulations also place internet service providers under the classification of a utility under Title II regulations, which was originally designed to combat Ma Bell and their monopoly of the telephone infrastructure in the 1930s. Through the course of the year, we've seen a lot of information flying around when it comes to net neutrality, and one of the larger arguments that Ajit Pai makes is that he feels that net neutrality was put into place out of a flawed belief that service providers had never prioritized traffic and that all this was doing was increasing regulation where none was warranted. However, Ajit Pai's statements don't coincide with fact. Indeed, if one even spends 1 minute searching on Google, you will find numerous news stories about how Verizon Fios customers were having Netflix traffic throttled or how Comcast was doing the same thing. On your screen now is an Ars Technica article from 2014, a year before net neutrality was put into place, that outlined how Netflix had agreed to pay Comcast for faster connection speeds to their clients, and once agreed upon, speeds increased by 65%. There were also countless stories of how Verizon Fios and Time Warner Cable users experienced significant speed increases with the usage of VPNs, as the ISPs were unable to identify the sources of the data traffic when a VPN was used. In some instances, it could very well have been an upstream routing issue, but the sheer number of them across the country makes me lean further towards that data traffic being throttled, as it was typically only in regards to streaming sites. The reason why repealing net neutrality will be bad for consumers and internet-based services are myriad, but many of them boil down to the fact of data prioritization. We could very easily see Verizon and Comcast promoting their own streaming services while charging sites like Hulu, YouTube, and Netflix to avoid their content being throttled. This would force those sites to pay the ransom imposed on them by the ISPs, which in turn would mean an increase of pricing for those services being incurred on the consumer. And not long after Netflix began paying Comcast's ransom in 2014, we saw a price increase for Netflix subscriptions that included the streaming package. But, of course, that never really happened if you believe Ajit Pai. The other main talking point in the fight over net neutrality is the concept of fast lanes and slow lanes, which is a bit of a misnomer. The thought behind this is that the ISPs will be able to charge extra money for the quote fast lane internet traffic while pushing those who don't decide to pay to the new standard lane, as the ISPs would never be such poor marketers as to call it a slow lane. No, what we will most likely see happen is that some ISPs will offer additional packages to consumers, much in the way that you see satellite TV or cable television companies divide up their television packages. where they will lock some sites and features behind additional paywalls. Like a new online media package, for example, that will guarantee certain speeds to sites like Hulu and Netflix or YouTube, or perhaps a streamers package that guarantees upload bandwidth to sites like Twitch. These would be bolt-ons to your standard internet packages that you already pay for, of course, allowing ISPs to charge more for what they were already previously providing. Now, Ajit Pai claims this will help spur growth and development of infrastructure, as it will give ISPs the ability to grow even faster, which, while there is that possibility, it will come at a cost that ultimately must be paid by the consumer. And as we've tended to see, what will most likely happen is that these companies will begin to rake in even more profits and pocketing the money, only building infrastructure in areas that will allow them to charge even more. So we will see next week if the overwhelming majority in favor of keeping net neutrality will have any difference whatsoever. I, for one, am not hopeful, but we'll see. But as always, please do let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you like what I do on this channel and wish to show your support, means YouTube is still being a titanic pain when it comes to content like this video being deemed not suitable for all advertisers, you can do so by subscribing to my Patreon. A link is in the description below. Also, big thanks to the 20 and Up Club, those people who are generous enough to donate $20 or more each month to help make sure I can keep bringing you videos as often as possible. They are listed down in the description as well. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.